So we all know that ad creative is one of the most important parts to scale Facebook ads. The challenge is that when you're producing a lot of ad creative, it can become very expensive very quickly. So I'm going to show you how you can produce as many ad creatives as you need while keeping that cost very reasonable. So let's get straight into the video. Just before we dive in, just give you some proof that I'm qualified to speak on the topic of scaling e-commerce brands, scaling ad creative. We produce hundreds of ad creatives every single month within my agency. You can see one of our clients here year to date is over $5.2 million in revenue. We help e-commerce brands scale through done-for-you services. If you want to scale your e-commerce brand faster, more profitably, without the headache, and you want someone to completely come in and manage your ad creatives, even manage your media buying, plus other things, then in the description of this video, there's a link to my website. You can book a call directly with me. We'll have a chat about your brand and see if there's a fit for us to work together and see if there's still space for us to take on new clients. Once we reach capacity, we don't take on any more clients. We remain small. We work with maximum 10 brands at one time. Okay, so let's get right into the video. Now, this video was inspired by a comment I received on one of my recent YouTube videos, and we're going to cover 5 different areas that allow you to produce just as much creative as you need to scale, but without breaking the bank. Okay, so the first area that I want to cover is how you can actually build a lean creative production system. So scaling a creative doesn't require a big team. It requires a system. And by breaking the process into repeatable steps and removing decision fatigue, you produce more creative faster without burning out. Okay, so this is exactly how to do it. First of all, you want to map out a clear workflow. Okay, you want to understand end to end what are the things that you need to do, what are the steps in between, so that you can make this a repeatable process. So this is idea to brief, to script, to shooting and editing, and then obviously to publishing or launching on the ad platforms. Okay, so you pair that with these tools to track production, but also to keep things organized. First of all, Notion. I've gone through a Notion board multiple times on my channel before, and I broke it down in one of the recent videos I did about creative systems that we use internally at my agency to produce hundreds of ads every single month and keep track of them. So you want something like that for sure, because it's going to allow you to keep track of this process, everything from start to finish. And the Google Drive side is going to allow you to keep track and organize your content. If you want to take that a step further, you can use Air.ink, but Google Drive suffices for now. And in terms of talking about keeping things lean and saving money, Google Drive is fine. Okay. Then you want to have a content calendar that focuses on topics that convert. So you want to plan ahead the content that you're going to be shooting. Of course, you can only plan so much ahead, right? There's going to be, okay, next week we find a new ad that's winning, and then we got to insert that, great, and reprioritize the new content that we're producing. But at least if you have an outline of what content needs to be produced when, and have a calendar that you know what days you're going to be shooting, or your content creators are going to be shooting, then that allows you to be much more organized and focused, and ensures that you have enough content coming down the turnpipe to meet the demand of the amount of creatives that you're producing. Okay. Next is I would stick to 1 or 2 core formats to reduce complexity, right? So this could be talking head, UGC overlay, which is a mix of A-roll, B-roll. It could be B-roll plus AI voiceover, like whatever it is. Just don't add a ton of variables, right? And of course, if you're doing like 8 figures in revenue, you could do more formats, right? You need more formats to continue to scale, to add more variation in the ad account. Then you want to create a weekly repeatable routine. So for example, Monday you do ideation, Wednesday you do shooting, Friday everything is edited, and then you approve things, go through some final edits so that next Monday you can launch. Example, right? But just get into like a weekly cadence so that it becomes routine. And of course, you have a bunch of other things to be doing as an e-commerce operator. So you want to be, balancing that with other things, other tasks that you need to do to keep the business moving forward. Okay. So the second thing is hiring the editing, right? So hiring a part-time editor or Fiverr talent, and editing is usually the biggest bottleneck and the easiest to offload. So what you need is a reliable, affordable editor who understands short form and performance content. Now, if you're still editing your own ads, then this is going to be a game changer. And if you already have editors and they're capped out, then you might need to hire another editor, right? It really depends on how many creators you're producing per month, okay? And ideally, you're working with a team who can handle all this for you. Of course, it depends on like how big you are. But as I said, for example, for my agency, we handle all of this for our clients, end-to-end ad creative production. Our clients aren't even involved in the creative process, which for them is amazing because they can focus on the other things that they need to focus on, okay? So how do you actually hire this person? Well, you can look at Fiverr, or you can look at Facebook groups, or you can look at Upwork. Now, we have found most success between Facebook and Upwork. We've also found a lot of success on LinkedIn. And I would say finally, we found success running Facebook ads, hiring ads, and sending people to a form to actually submit their application, right? So a lot of different ways you can source people. Just make sure you're asking for their portfolio and examples of the videos that they produce in your application. That's going to help you weed out who's good from bad and who understands short form of performance content. You want to start with a trial edit using one of your existing videos, right? just to understand it and compare how they edit the video. Then you also want to provide a visual reference doc. So you want to provide timestamps, vibe, pacing, examples, specifically what you know that works well for your brand. You want to batch 3 to 4 videos at once to reduce the back and forth between these editors. And you want to also, integrate them into this Notion system, this process, right? So they're integrated into the workflow and then it becomes much more seamless. And you pay per video or in small bundles, right? Typically $20 to $75 per video. That's the range that you can expect, and it depends on experience. I would say you can get away with, probably more on the lower end, anywhere from $20 to $40 per video. For statics, it's cheaper, but that's really what you can expect with this, okay? Now, the third thing is using AI, and using AI for scripting, voiceovers, and also UGC outreach. So these AI tools I'm about to share with you can eliminate hours of manual work, from writing hooks, generating voiceovers, even handling UGC casting. And it automates the tedious parts so you can focus on what moves the needle, right? Now, in my company, we have someone who actually handles all of the creator outreach and coordination and communication for us. That in itself is quite a big job, quite a big task. So, if you're still doing all that yourself, then, these tools are going to be helpful for you. And the same thing when it comes to scripting and voiceovers as well, okay? So ChatGPT, of course, when you're writing scripts, angles, and ad hooks, you can do that in minutes, especially if you train a custom GPT on your brand, on your reviews, and you get it to learn over time what works best and you feed it winning ads. That's going to allow you to produce much more impactful ads and scripts in minutes. And then you also want to use something like 11 Labs to run voiceover scripts through. That's going to allow you to create these AI voiceovers with existing B-roll that you have. And that's going to save you a ton of money on content, because rather than having to go out and get new videos from UGC creators every single time, if you just use your existing B-roll and 11 Labs voiceovers, which sound very human, then you can create a ton of new ads for minimal cost, right? And because you are organizing everything neatly in a Google Drive folder, you know what B-roll you have, and it's very easy for you to find when it comes to the editing process. Next, you can generate visuals and mockups with tools like ChatGPT and Midjourney. There's other tools out there like ArcAds and icon.com, where you can actually generate UGC ads and static ads using AI. And you can also automate UGC outreach emails via Gmail or instantly. And finally, you can create a creative bank doc to store your top performing structures. You want to keep track of what are the actual structures that perform the best, so that you can, again, feed those back into the AI to create those scripts, angles, and ad hooks in minutes. So number 4 is the 3-hour weekly system to keep content flowing. And this is specifically if you're self-recording. If you're using content creators, different story, right? But basically, if you're self-recording, if you're doing some videos yourself, you don't need 20 hours a week to create consistent content. You just need 3 focused hours. And the key is batching, eliminating overthinking, and locking in a consistent routine. So the first hour, what you want to do is you want to use this for your research, and you want to use it for scripting using templates and frameworks, okay? Second hour is you want to record 3 to 4 videos back to back, keeping the setup simple. You might even be able to record more. And the final hour is when you're prepping the assets, you're sending them to the editor, you're briefing, and then you're scheduling and posting the ones that are already edited as well. So you use iPhone and mic for quick production, and then you record multiple hooks, intros to test variations off one shoot. So you batch the content together, and it just makes your time much more efficient. The 5th and final area is template systems, briefs, shot lists, ad iterations. Templates, standing operating procedures, systems are going to be your friend. It's going to allow you to move a lot faster in the process. So templates are a secret weapon for speed and clarity. And when every creative follows a format, it becomes plug and play. And even outsourced work, even work that other people are doing, becomes higher quality and faster to deliver, right? And what I've found running a team and building a team and hiring much different team members over the years is that it's not only important that you have very good team members, it's also just as important that you have very good systems that they can plug into and use on a daily basis to allow you to achieve the outcomes that you want to achieve, okay? And as I mentioned, I have another video on my channel that I posted recently just before this one, which goes through the creative systems that we use internally at my agency, so you can see exactly how we produce ad creatives end to end and how we keep everything organized and stress tested with volume, right? Hundreds of ads every single month, thousands of ads over the lifetime of the system, and it works, okay? So when it comes to actually creating templates, you want to use a creative brief template, okay? And I would recommend having a bunch of these based on different frameworks. Example is like hook, pain point, CTA, visual direction, and just to understand different templates for different areas, right? Different elements within the framework. You want to have templates for different hooks, what works well, different pain points, of course, desires, failed solutions, different formats of CTA that you use that have worked, and also the visual direction that works for you and your audience. Keep a repeatable shot list for each format. So talking head, demo, voiceover, B-roll. Basically, you have a set number of shot list items, right? And it just makes it easier to categorize what each clip is, right? Is this clip a talking head? Is it a B-roll? Is it a demo? Like, what is it, right? And you just keep it very concise. Then you want to use a swipe file to inspire angles and formats, just so that you're not always starting from scratch. And you want to keep track of the research that you've done, of course, and also your winning ads and the winning elements and the insights and learnings you've got from your previous creative tests. Then you want to build a Notion or a Google Sheet tracker. And again, this is going to allow you to keep track of the performance from concept to version to performance. It also is going to allow you to keep track of the iterations that you create on those ads. We call those iteration trees because you might create, 5 iterations from a single ad, and therefore that has like different branches. Okay. So that's really, really important. It's also really important to track the win rate of your ad creatives, just so that you know how effective your ad creatives are at turning into winners. And finally, you can recycle top performing ads into new variants with new intros or CTAs. And this is really the iteration process where you take something that is working, even something that's not working, and you change one or two, like a few different areas of the ad based on the data, based on the engagement graphs, based on the hook rates, the hold rates, and understanding and creating a hypothesis around how the ad can actually be improved with the data. Okay. Then you could test that again. And that's a very easy way to create new ads without having to go all the way back to the drawing board and starting fresh. Okay. So it's going to save a lot of time, but iterations it's where the money is made, right? Because you are getting ever and ever closer through every iteration to kind of that quote unquote perfect ad that's going to scale much further than your other ones. So those are the 5 areas I would recommend to build a machine, a creative system with a lean team and while keeping your costs under control. Okay. Now, if you want someone to come in and just manage all this for you, by working with us, you get a team that is already built, already optimized, systems that are already optimized, and we produce all the ad creatives for you. We can even manage the ads for you as well. It really depends on what stage you're at with your business. If you're a bigger brand and you already have media buying covered, maybe even have some creative covered as well, it's no harm to bring in another agency, another team to produce more ad creative for you, especially as you're scaling and as you need more ad creative, because other teams will give you different perspectives and different ideas for ad creatives and come up with different angles and different styles that are going to work, right? So you can find multiple different things that work from multiple different sources, right? So if that is also something you're interested in, that is something we can do. And as I mentioned in the link below this video in the description, you can go to our website, you can book a call with me, we'll chat about your brand and see if there's a fit for us to actually help you achieve your objectives. All right, that's it for this video and I'll see you in the next one.